have a few requests like this. A lot of people want to know how to stay interested in music. A lot of people want to know how to progress and continue writing music. But what I've found in my career of playing music for the last 36 years, a good way to do it is to always be moving forward. Don't get stuck in patterns, don't get stuck in boxes, don't get stuck practicing the same things all the time. Change what you're doing and always be trying to move forward. Use songs that you're trying to play, not to copy them. That's what a lot of guys get into. They get into this thing where when you'll play a song on the internet, people will come on there and say, you're not playing the right chord, and you're not doing the right lead, and you're not doing the right thing. It's about you. Worry about trying to progress your playing. Use what you're learning from other people's techniques to improve yourself, not to copy them. You know, you don't want to be a carbon copy of someone else. You want to have people's styles to where when people listen to you, they say, oh, I can hear their influences. You know, you can hear Hendrix, you can hear Stevie Ray Vaughan, you can hear Joe Satriani, you can hear Steve Vai, things like that. But you want to have your own style. You want people to, when they hear you, go, oh, that's Doyle Bramhall. You know, that's, you know, you can hear in Doyle Bramhall's playing, you can hear Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Buddy Guy. You know, you can hear all them Eric Clapton guys, you know, but it also sounds like him. It's him, you know. So to continue progressing and getting new ideas for music, new ideas for songs, you have to study other people's styles, but not in a way that like you're trying to be them, because that'll just get you bogged down in somebody else's playing. A lot of guys do that. It matters that you know what they're doing and how they're doing it, what scale they're playing in, what chord progressions they're playing in, and then change those to something other than what you're learning so that you can learn something new. And like I say, take it little steps at a time. You know, if you're gonna play something really difficult like For the Love of God by Steve Vai, just take it one section at a time. Learn little parts, and you'll slowly get better by using other people's techniques, and it'll just get you better dexterity in your fingers. Now, you also don't need high dollar equipment. A lot of people think you need high dollar equipment. When I moved to Japan, I had 27 guitars. I've sold a lot of them on eBay and here in Japan. So now I've got, I think I got a total of like 10 or 12 guitars now. And the ones I mainly play on is this one here, which is actually in Japan this would be a little over $5,000, but the retail on this guitar is $3,000 to $4,500. And this is a 1 of 60 Gretsch Cream de Mint Falcon, and this is the only one in Japan. Now I also play on a Fender Deluxe amp. I have a RC300. I have a whammy, Digitech whammy. I have a D4 Line 6 delay pedal that has a looper in it as well, and I have a Line 6 wireless guitar system on this guitar. And the thing is you don't need all of that to be good. You know, I also have a little 20-watt orange amp over there, and I've got an Ibanez Artcore, which is maybe $500. The amp is $100, so you know, you can do the same thing I'm doing on stuff like that. That's the problem that a lot of guys get into as well. They think they can't have that sound that somebody else has unless they have all the equipment they have, which is very expensive. And what you just heard me play has there's nothing on it. I didn't use any foot pedals. All I used is the Fender Deluxe amp, which is a beautiful amp. It's about $600. Quite an expensive amp, but it's a very good investment. It's a very, very good amp. And Has a lot of tones. You can play heavy metal on it, you can play rockabilly, you can play country, folk. I hook it up to my acoustic guitar, so you can play acoustic guitars through it as well. I play a cello. I have an electric cello that I can play through it, so I can record with the cello as well. It's an awesome amp, but you don't need it. But what you do need is to sit down and try to learn melodies, learn progressions, figure out scales. That's what I like to do. You'll see a lot of my videos where it looks like I'm not a very good guitar player, because I don't really put a lot of stuff on the internet that's like me playing amazingly and stuff like that. I just don't do that. But what I do is I grab unusual backing tracks, and I try to figure out what the scale is. I try to mess around with it and figure out patterns and figure out things so that I can progress in my playing. To where the reason why you want to do that is because you might go to some live house like I do in Japan, and you might walk into some live house and I pull this out and people automatically think you know how to play, and they ask you to come sit in with them on stage. Well, I don't even need them to tell me what scale they're playing in. All they have to do is start playing, and I can really easily figure out what they're doing from that. And that's why you're able to do that, is because you practice like this. So how I would say the best way to get out of plateaus, and a lot of guys will get to a certain point in their playing and it just drops off and they just stop playing, they stop writing music, they stop being innovative, they stop having really the will to play. What I would say is just find some backing track that you find to be something that you might want to play to, and just look around for backing tracks, because some of the stuff that you're going to want to have when you play is a very good internal monitor. You need to know need to have an internal click track, and the cool thing about that is if you practice with these backing tracks, you get that kind of where you're on the beat. You know, you want to have a good internal meter so that when you sit down with people you can play with them and you can follow along with what they're playing. And it helps when you play a lot of different styles as well, you know, even other instruments. That sometimes gets me out of plateaus. If I get into a place where I'm practicing all the time, I have a banjo, I have a cello, you know, I had a saxophone but I just sold it on eBay not too long ago, but I have other instruments that I sit down and I play with. I have a piano, you know. So if I start getting into the thing where I feel like I'm plateauing, I'll work for a week or so on another instrument, and then I'll come back to it with new eyes. And it's kind of funny. I'll play on other instruments, and I'll bring that sound back to the instrument that I'm playing with, which is my main instrument, which is guitar. You'll end up coming back at things with new eyes and new sounds, and try to not fall into a pattern. What a lot of guys end up doing is they get stuck practicing a scale that they like, and they start playing that scale over and over and over, and every time they pick up the guitar, that's the first thing they do, is play that scale, you know. And what you need to do is never really practice the same thing over and over again. Come back at it with new eyes. And if you're going to practice things, practice like 3 notes per string kind of licks, you know. And I've talked about it before. Like, if a lot of guys want to know how to get faster, if you want to get faster, one of the best things you can do is start at the first string and just work your way down and then back up, and practice that until you get sick, you know, basically. And you just you want to get to where you can move your fingers quite fast, you know. And then after you get to where you can play that fast, go up and then slide up 1, you know. like that, and then basically just keep working your way up and get it to where you can, you know, I mean, you really want to play at each note. I'm playing kind of messily, but you want to play each note to where, and work on going up, down, up, down, up, down. You know, you want to always go up and down. So you know, work on going up and down, and that'll get you faster, you know, which will allow you to just work on playing things that you find enjoyable. Mainly what a lot of guys end up doing is they get stuck at playing the same songs, singing the same songs, doing the same things all the time. And obviously, just like a marriage or anything else, it's going to eventually get boring. And when it gets boring, that's when you're going to start losing motivation to try to play more. So what you need to do is start doing something different and not get caught up playing things that you don't like. You know, you need to constantly be striving to move forward in your playing, and the way you do that is like what I like to do. When I decide I'm going to start playing, I'll sometimes run through some scales just to get my fingers, you know, playing and stretched out, you know, and stuff like that, and to get my hand kind of syncopated with my fingers, you know. And then it's kind of like before you go on a run, you know, you go stretch. So it's kind of the same thing, you know, you have some patterns that you work through or something that you play a little bit. And once you've done that, then I get on YouTube, I grab a backing track, and I just grab a random backing track. I don't care what scale it's in, what chord progression it is or anything, and I just sit down and I play. And I can do that for hours. You know, that's what's nice, is each time some song comes on, you can turn on one and it'll go to a new one, and then a new one, and then a new one, and it'll keep doing that. So if you can have that happen, it kind of gets you back into wanting to play again. You'll start hearing new things. You'll start branching out, finding new chords, finding new scales, finding new little melodies, medleys that you like, ways of running through the strings, you know, 4-note per string, 3-note per string, 5-note per string, things like that. You'll figure out ways to play that you can use in your playing when you get on stage, and that'll actually help you when you play live and when you play with other people and you start